Hey YouTube, today I'm going to paint some circles and some more circles. I want to do this again, but change it up a little bit, try to make it a little better. So let's go to the painting adventure. Okay, so this is what I painted in my last video. Currently, I have not posted that yet because, well, I don't know why, but I'm going to. I have to get over my perfectionism and just post things. So, and I was thinking about this painting. I think I'm going to do this again in my sketchbook, but I want to work on the composition a little bit more. And it's funny, I actually much prefer working on a square format, but I have a stack of this B paper. I think it's 6 by something, not 9. Well, anyway, whatever. Sometimes I'll actually cut off and make it a square. That's what I should probably do with the rest of these, because I just don't like this paper orientation. I like squares. So I don't know. Here's something cool. I just got this tape. Usually I use washi tape, or I have like this art tape, which is blue. But when you border your page with a color, it kind of messes with your brain when you're painting. And so then when you take off the paint at the end, it can look a little different than you thought because you have that border. So anyway, I just ordered this on Amazon. I don't even know what brand it is, Tess Art. But I believe it's a 1/4 inch, which is a size I really like for borders. Let me show you. In this book, I have an unfinished page way back here. Like, that's with washi tape. And with the darker colors, I've come to really dislike painting with the color on there like that. So I think I'm switching to only white tape, but I will try to use up the other darker tapes that I have. So like right now I do have this taped off, which you might be able to see, but I'm so excited to paint on this and not have a border. Don't mind me, I have my little coffee drink here. I'm gonna drink that. All right. I think I'll start with, I just sat down at my art table today. But I think what I'm gonna do first, we're gonna go in a sort of backwards order, because once I do my first layer of this one, oh wait, maybe I should do that first so then it'll have time to dry and then I can work on the finishing touches on this page. I think that's a better plan. I'm uncapping. I have my 3 water jars. They're just ball jars, but I have lids on them because, well, one time my cats knocked over a whole jar of water on my computer, and by some miracle, my computer survived that event, but I try to cover my water also because I don't want the cats like drinking paint water. That would not be good. Like I said, I just sat down, so I'm not like all prepared and stuff. Let me see if zooming out a little makes sense. Yeah. I kind of have my phone thingy here a little too close, I think, because it's like in my way. Okay. Let's just leave it there. I have my phone holder canvas thing, like I put a shelf on the wall right into a stud and hung it on there, because if you clip those to your table, they shake no matter what you do, no matter how stable your table is. That rhymed. Stable table, not possible. What am I doing? I mostly always use Princeton Neptune round brushes. I have like a lot of brushes, which is kind of embarrassing at this point because I'm like, I don't use. I use a very small percentage of the brushes that I have. I don't know if it would be helpful for you to see my water jars, but I just don't think I can get them in this shot. I don't want to zoom out too much. I want you to be able to see what I'm painting and actually feedback welcome on that aspect. What I am thinking here is I'm going to go with this color palette. This one, as I was saying in my last video, is basically a swatch sheet of the bottom half of this Art Nouveau Kuretake watercolor set. And then on the previous page, I had done the top half. I wanted to do all of them, but well, I ran out of room. That's what happened. But I'm gonna mix up some different colors. Not mix colors. Actually, with this set, I don't really mix mix colors. I think, pardon me, I think they would get a bit muddy just because they are more opaque watercolors. I am working in my Arteza 8x8 sketchbook, which you will see and hear me talk about a lot. I'm going to a size 12 brush because I want to do some bigger circles. So my circles are going to touch each other. I like these paints. I just love that you cannot go wrong with the colors here. They just all go together so beautifully. That is, oh, you know what? Let me grab this like green goldish kind of color. Actually, I'm gonna mix with this other green. I kind of want something in between these two. So I'm not saying you can't mix these. I'm just saying like they would definitely have a tendency to get muddy if you're not careful, depending on what you're mixing. When I'm working with my regular watercolors, which are right here, I do a ton of mixing with these, as you can see. And then I have this like porcelain plate. It has 3 sections. I usually just keep my little cloth here in the plate because, oh my gosh, that little tag got on my circle, because it gets really wet and I don't really want it to be sitting on my table, which actually this table can handle it for some reason. It's really sealed well. I have left wet things on it and not had a problem, but you know, I soak these cloths quite deeply. So, all right, one of my thoughts with changing this composition a little, and of course going to square versus like a landscape is going to change it just naturally, but I wanted to go really big with like at least one of the circles. Oh, I do want that to touch. I want it to touch there we go. And the other thing one of the things I love about this one is how this pink bled into this green. That is just, oh my gosh, like love. I love that so much. So that's what I want to try to make happen again, which may or may not work, but let's see if we can get it to work. This is different paper. There it goes. And sometimes you have to be quite patient with this kind of bleeding because it can take a little while to happen. So you have to just sort of like do it and let it go and not fuss with it too much. I probably didn't get my that green area wet enough for it to bleed as much as I would like, but I know I said not to mess with it too much, and then look what I'm doing, but I'm being careful. It's kind of cool how that vermilion color is bleeding into that green also, and this green bleeding in. That's one thing I love about these paints, and they really do like to travel. See, look at that pink traveling into that green because it's so wet. That's one of the things that it does. Now, sometimes, like, this is too dry and it's not really bleeding in very well. This paper does lift pretty easily, which can be a negative, but it isn't. It is not cotton paper. So it has its limitations, but even with cotton paper, sometimes you can have like challenges depending on the paper, depending on the paints. I was just thinking about this. I'm like, I can't say that I have a favorite paper. I mean, I prefer cotton paper over anything, but it just depends because depending on what you're painting and what you're going for, I don't know that there's a perfect paper out there that I've quite yet found. Yeah. And I've tried many papers, believe me. I've tried them all. I've tried all the fancy ones. Like, I'm not really a fan of how this is bleeding in here. It's just not, like, there's an edge to it, but if I go in and try to blend that edge, it's like, this is a nice bleed because it doesn't have an edge. It's just sort of like flowed together. This one, there's an edge, and like I said, if I try to blend it, it's going to just lift the paint too much because of this paper. I mean, I'm not really trying to be that fussy about this painting, truly, but I'm just trying to. This bleed, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Look at it. It's just perfect. I love that so much. Yeah. Very cool. Okay, let's get more green and do some smaller circles. Yeah, so when I looked back at this one, I want this to be bigger, I want there to be more of a focal point. And so that's what I'm going for here. Although I do like this painting a lot, and I do think that this ended up being a focal point, especially with the darker value of the green. This bleed kind of like, it's like a sunshine, like light shining down on the circle. And then this writing here, I like it. This is pleasing to me. I really like how this turned out. But because I enjoyed painting that so much, I want to try it again, try to improve it. I'm just picking up there's like a little puddle of paint there. What else? What else? I'm loving this green right here, and I feel like that might do well over here. So let's throw some of that in. Maybe I'm thinking another green. I'm gonna go try to go a little bit darker, go into this darker green and then kind of back into the lighter green. And it's hard to do it like in a corner like that because then I struggle with the shape because I want to do the whole circle, but I think it's okay. I live in Phoenix, Arizona, and we do not have humidity here, like hardly ever. We get a little humid in August, I guess, July and August, but so anyway, with watercolor, it's a bit challenging because things just dry so quickly. Oh my goodness. And especially with acrylics, that's like even more challenging. Okay. I do kind of wish this set had these two darks are very much both leaning very green, and I'm a big fan of Prussian blue. So I kind of wish it had like a nice Prussian blue that went with this set, but with that said, I can just grab my other palette and use the Prussian over there, so I don't need to be precious about that. Have you ever seen the like reviews of like paint reviews? Well, someone will review a palette and talk about its limitations, but the fact is, I think most people aren't going to just paint with one palette. And so sort of I think if a palette doesn't have like one color that you desperately think you need, I'm sure you have it in another palette. So, you know what I'm saying. It's like, or, oh my gosh, have you ever watched like a makeup video where they're reviewing a makeup palette and they're having a fit because whatever color is missing? It's like, don't tell me you don't have 16 other makeup palettes sitting over there that you could go grab whatever color it is you're missing. I mean, we don't have to be like, I just have to use this palette. So yeah. All right, I think what I'm gonna do is keep going with the ones on the edges. What else do I want to grab? I think I'm gonna go back into and repeat a couple colors. This color. Now this might be interesting when this green, because it's still pretty wet, when it bleeds into the vermilion, and I'm going to wait until like the last swipe here because I don't want to muddy it up too much. But I do want to see if, oh, okay, the vermilion is going into the green. These paints are so fun. This is the first time I'm using this tape, so I just went over it with like a lot of paint, a lot of dark paint, so I'm just interested to see what will happen with that. Oh my gosh, that's my ice machine. It gets a little cranky sometimes and makes crazy noises. It's like a nugget ice machine, so I'm gonna go turn it off. Oh, see, it yelled at me. It was like, why'd you turn me off? I'm loving this so far. Again, this bleed, not crazy about, but this is only a sketchbook page. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I have the hiccups now, I guess. Okay. I think what I want is very almost like invisible. Oh, that was more than I intended, but whatever. I think I just want to like fill this whole thing. Ooh, look at that. See, that's going to be a nice bleed. I'm just going to leave it alone and see what it does. I love this palette again because it's a pretty, it's not like an extremely limited palette, but again, these colors just go so well together. So it takes out this element of like decision making in picking colors and prevents you, I think, from getting colors that just don't work, using colors that don't work well together. I fully admit that I have way too many paints in my regular watercolor palette, and eventually I'm leaning towards majorly simplifying what I have in there. I'm just kind of trying to use up what I have and go from there. So yeah, this is super cool. I love what this is doing. See, you look away for like 20 seconds and it's does something crazy that you're not expecting. I'm kind of curious to try this on, say, like Arches paper. Sometimes that paper, the way it bleeds, the way paint bleeds on that paper kind of aggravates me, but like this side, I'm in love with this bleed right here. That is incredible. This one is incredible. That one's pretty cool. And really, you just can't really control. You can't control everything in watercolor. So, yeah. I am going to go over a couple of these circles with some metallic watercolors. I have this Soho Urban Artist set. I think I ordered this from Jerry's Artorama, and it's pretty good. I have some other sort of like random metallics, but I like having this set because it just has all these crazy colors. I love metallics, but at the same time, I usually just use gold. So this was not like a super fancy set. I just kind of wanted more colors just in case I wanted to use them. All right. That needs to dry. So let's go over here and I'll show you how I do. Yeah, I'm not ready for these metallics because I need to let those paints dry. I have my little drawer of colored pencils. I have narrowed down to my favorite colors that I always use. So this is that. And I'm going to just go for it. When I do my like loose pencil marks, I'm really I want to hold the pencil like super loose so that I want it to be like a shaky line. I don't want to hold it like this because then I'm going to be like coloring, and that's not what I want. My colored pencils are a mix of Prismacolor, mostly Prismacolors and Luminance. I have a couple of Derwent drawing pencils and a couple of polychromos, but I just don't go through colored pencils like very heavily, so I don't want to buy anymore, but you know, part of me is like, I want every brand, but I'm really not a colored pencil artist per se. I just use them for accents, so I could probably get away with, like, honestly, much cheaper ones, but I have these, so that's not the blue I want. Every once in a while, I need to go grab out of my big set a different color. All right, so one of the things that I love to do in my art is writing that has meaning but is illegible. So when I do this, I'm also holding my pen. I'm holding it more like a pen, but the movement is not coming so much from my fingers. Like, I'm not like trying to form the letters with my fingers. I'm coming more from like actually my shoulder. So like right now, I'm like, my hand is basically still, right? But because I want it to be messy and illegible, so you might be able to tell, I don't know, but that I'm not really moving my fingers. It's actually really weird to explain that because I've never explained that before, but that's how I do it. And you'll never know what I'm writing. But that's just how I like to do it. And I've found that I enjoy doing this with gold gel pen. One thing about the Art Nouveau set is if you go really thick with the paint, it can kind of like, I don't know if you can see, it almost looks like it's still wet, right? Like right here. See how it's really dark? In the right light, you can see it gets a little shiny. So like my gold gel pen would not write on that, but whatever. I really like this. Okay, the other thing I like to do sometimes, I have my little circle cutout thingamajig. It's Stedler. I think I got this used from someone with a bunch of stuff, so I have no idea if they even still make this like particular brand anymore, but I'm sure you can find one of these. They're so nice to have. So within this circle, I'm just going back and forth, and it makes a really cool effect. If you want, you could go around too, like around the circle. It's not a perfect science with my little watercolor circles, but you'll do it over here too. I think I saw someone do that on Skillshare like a long time ago when I first started painting. I really enjoy that effect. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Now see, This paper really does lift. Like that started lifting the watercolor. I'm not gonna be able to get that gel pen out, but yeah, being that this is not cotton paper, the paint is going to lift like so easily. What else do I want to do to this? Oh, you know what I did not do yet is any splatter. Okay, let's do that. Oh, you know what else? It's funny, I just looked at my phone and it's almost 30 minutes in and I'm like, I feel like I've done nothing, but that's real-time painting. It's not a, I don't like feel like I want to watch sped up painting processes on YouTube. So I'm going to go with the assumption that I'm not the only one out there like that. I love watching long videos where it's just slow and in real time. Because really, I'm watching those when I'm painting and it's not that I'm following along with them, but oh, that's a nice bleed. I don't know if I want to cover it up. All right, I'm going to. It'll still show through. So with this, I don't want to be too rough with my brush over top of this because of that paint that's going to want to lift up so easily. I really want to keep what's under it. So I'm trying to do it like kind of fast and very light on top. I want to do one more metallic. I think I'm going to do it over this blue, this light blue. Yeah, that is nice. Okay. Maybe next I'll do this on like a high quality paper just to see what happens. Okay. I feel like this needs a little more dark value in it. So let's see if I can achieve that. Just go with, well, yeah. Okay, now I have to get out my drawer of Neocolors because I don't have much in the way of a dark green in my colored pencil box, but I have, ooh, I don't actually know if I have what I'm looking for in my Neocolors. Not really, no. Okay, let's go here and see. I want a really dark, earthy green. This will do. Or maybe this. All right. I'm going to go for this one that's a little more teal versus like an olive. I had another thought about these paintings and these circle paintings. I kind of want to try doing it really loosely, like instead of like making the circle so perfect, I want to do it loose and messy. I haven't tried it yet, but it's in the back of my mind that I want to. Okay. Also, when I do my loose colored pencil lines, I twist the pencil as I go. Just something I do. I don't know if that wants me to do anything else to it, but for now I'm going to leave it to dry. And then let's come back over here. There's some puddling over here. I'm just gonna like dab it up so it doesn't dry all crazy looking. There's also a puddle here. A pretty thick puddle. And that is where it'll dry and it'll be kind of like shiny looking. Okay. Yeah, I have definitely some puddles going on in this painting. If I had taken these up earlier, they would have maybe dried better, but I didn't, so. Oh, I didn't do my splatter yet either over here. Let's, oh boy, there goes my paintbrush. I think I'll do gold. Actually, I'm not gonna do it until it dries because if I splatter on the wet, I'm not going for that right now. I'm not wanting that. Okay. Let's go in with some more metallics. This one's already wet, so I'll use this. The thing I like about adding this part is when you hold it up in the light and move it, you know, it just creates such a nice shimmer effect. That's nice. Let's do some green. These also activate really quickly, which I like about them. I think that's enough of that. I will add splatter to both of these pages once they're dry, and there's just too much that's still wet on here, so I would blow dry it, but I think I'll just let it dry naturally. Okay. That was fun, right? I'm gonna just pause the video and take a breather and come back. Okay, I am back. Next, I'm going to show you something I like to do, just to loosen up. And this is my scrap. I don't even want to call it a sketchbook because it's really just like scrap paper, although there's a couple of actual paintings in here, and then there's stuff my kids did. Let me show you something cool that's in here. Oh, well, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how I do my loose bees in watercolor. But this is a Canson mixed media 98-pound sketchbook. Yeah. I prefer this paper to the Canson XL watercolor paper, which well, sorry to say, but I hate that paper. This paper is thinner, but it's actually a lot nicer somehow. So here's something I like to paint sometimes with my little bees. I did that in December of 23. There's another one. I went through a little phase with these daffodils. There's some more of them. Cherries. I mean, this book is a hot mess. There's no doubt about it. Yes, more daffodils. Then I started adding the bees. This one's kind of funny. That was one of my earlier bees. It's not as like loose. I feel like I got a lot better at painting those. And then I'll just fill pages with them. Oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. I was trying to draw like a sloth. Yeah, that happened. And then a lot of times I'll just like swatch colors in here as I'm painting if I need to see what a color looks like, where if I feel like I can't really tell on the palette, I'll just swatch it real quick and see. But since I have this page that's not really filled yet, I will show you how I do my bees. And I like to use like a really loosey-goosey brush for this. And I'm trying to remember if I have a favorite, but I don't really know. So I'm grabbing my Silver Black Velvet 4. I actually think I decided I don't like using these brushes for my bees, but let me just do one and see. I might have used my Princeton Heritage brushes. It doesn't really matter. So I'm holding this brush at the tip. I'm like, this is how I'm painting. This is what it looks like from the side, but I'm holding it upright, straight up and down, almost perpendicular to the page, maybe not quite. Yeah, this brush is too soft. Now it's coming back to me because I actually haven't really painted these in a while, but I just feel like doing something sort of mindless. And the first few times that I did this, I looked at like other paintings of bees and actual bee pictures. And I just sort of came up with my own like way of doing this. And I've done it many, many times. And truly, the looser the better. Like, I'll do a few of them, and you might see that I loosen up even more as I go, and the more of them that I paint. But actually, that one's kind of cute. So I'm going for, let me show you how I don't paint them. So this is how I do not paint them. This is how I painted that one that I showed you back there with the daffodil that I was like, it's one of my earlier bees. This will be me doing that, okay? And I've had to undo this method to get looser. I've had to work on getting messier and looser. Let's see if I can do it like real tight. This is a tight bee. Oh, he kind of ended up with a little stinger there. Let's just make it a little bigger. And I mean, I'm just saying, like, the brush is very much down on the paper. It's kind of like more perfect, not perfect, but I think you can tell the difference between the looseness of this and the tightness of this. You know, my brush is like not, when I do it loosely, my brush, I want it to kind of like skip over the page a little bit. Like if I'm doing a circle, like there's like a very loose, it's lifting and coming down, right? Whereas with my tightness, a tight circle would be like this. My hand is much tenser. I can feel it. I'm gripping the paintbrush, even though I'm actually holding it in a loose way at the very tip, because I'm so trained to do that. But if I was really getting tight, this is what I would do. I would put my wrist down. I would put the brush to the paper, and I would be using my hand and my wrist so intensely like this, right? And look, well, okay, it's a little wonky, but my point is, it takes a lot of practice actually to learn how to paint loosely. So be gentle with yourself about it, because like I sort of fixed that circle, but the tension that just created in my wrist and my hand is truly unacceptable to me. That's not sustainable, you know? It's like, I'm gonna hurt myself, right? I don't know how like colored pencil colorists or artists like work with a colored pencil and do all day like this. I mean, I would have carpal tunnel in like 10 minutes. So anyway, let me do another one a little bigger so you can maybe see it better. Again, I don't want a perfect line. I want it to be like wonky. I'm letting go of that control. I'm not even like gripping the paint. I'm letting it's loose. It's so loose. And in my opinion, the bees have a lot more personality when you do it like this. Like this little sketch down here, I was just totally messing around, and this was with gel pen. And see how loose it is? That I was drawing that in the same way that I'm painting these bees. Let's give him a little eye. Oh my gosh, so silly. His head's really big. Whatever. And if you like practice something like this with maybe a bug or an animal that you enjoy, you can then add it to your paintings if you want. I sometimes add these to my floral paintings. And okay, let's do another really loose, like so loose you can't believe it. And yeah, it just, with much practice, you can just have something like a bee or whatever, a bird, that you know how to paint so well because you've done it so many times that you don't even have to think about it. You don't have to be like, oh, I want to add this to my painting. And then you have to go look for an image, and then you have to practice painting it, and then you have to practice drawing it. And like, I would rather, for me where I'm at right now, have like one thing that I know I can do, I don't have to think about, and just be able to throw that into a painting, or just do it on scrap paper just to have fun. And that makes me happy. It's very low pressure. So the other thing that I don't really paint them, I more so draw, are these chickens. And I have some really funny ones. I can't exactly find it right now. I don't know where it is, but I call them my scribble chickens. And it's been a while, so if this turns out really bad, don't blame me. But this is like how I do a scribble chicken. It's so, okay, yeah, it's been a while since I did this, but you know what the beauty of this is? I'm making myself laugh, right? I mean, that's the thing. Like, this is hilarious to me. This stupid chicken. Need some more feathers. Need some like little like butt feathers. But how ridiculous is that? It's totally ridiculous. And I've done a better job on my chickens, but that was just out of the blue. I have not done that in months. But going back to the point with the bees, I've drawn them so many times, and I have painted them too. But I've done it so many times that it's just second nature. It just comes out. It's just, I'm grabbing a sketchbook that I think I have chickens in to show you, but it's just fun. Like, it's just, oh, here. Now, these guys are funny. This, I was a little more, practicing a little more right here. I mean, obviously that one's completely wild and they're all crazy, but like these guys, I actually really think came out cool. They have some, look at that guy's personality. Look at that face. And I go back and look at this and it just makes me laugh. Now, the first time I did a chicken, I looked at a chicken picture and I made a pencil sketch, and then I did my like crazy neocolor scribbles on top. And I did that a few times, and then I got to the point where I could kind of freehand them, and sometimes they turn out terrible, but other times they turn out hilarious. Actually, I have bees. Oh, here's some more chickens, little ones. And I did paint these with watercolor and these, which was funny because I often would draw them just with the neocolors, but oh, here's a page of bees. I think that's pretty cool. And for me, the looser I get with the bees, the better. Like, I love that one. It's so loose and like, okay, that one is absolutely ridiculous looking. Look at that thing. Oh my gosh. Anyway, these are just things that I do that make up my art practice that I want to share with you. So, okay, here's more of my classic scribble chicken with drawing instead of painting. So these guys are hilarious to me. And I kind of just like doing like a random chicken head in there. And yeah. So I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah. Sometimes I just don't know what to say or where to go. But as I said in my other video yesterday, this is a work in progress. But I just want to share my joy of painting with whoever is out there that might wants to go on this journey with me. So, all right. What next? See, I like those little bees. They're cute. Maybe I'll do, sometimes I'll draw my bees. Like, I love doing it with the gel pen because gel pens are so easy to get that like skippy line look where it's like a broken line when you hold it loosely and don't push down too much. How wonky is that? Little stinger. Sometimes you have to really find ways to get even looser because your body starts to get better at it. I don't know how to explain it. It's like I've learned to hold my brush or pens up here, but if I really want to, I can get tighter and like do it tighter. So you have to get creative and like force yourself to be kind of shaky. So that is the way I draw a bee. I don't know how well you can see it. Isn't that so cute? And that actually is an adorable little drawing on a ridiculous piece of scrap paper. But every time I look at that, I'm gonna be like, that is just so cute. I love this. And if I wanted to, I could make it something like in a sketchbook page, like a nice page if I really wanted to. But that's not what I'm trying to do at the moment. Okay, let's see if my pages are dry. They are dry. Okay, what did I say I was going to do? Some splatter. Let's do it. I tend to like to use gold for my splatters, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna use my like deep gold. I have this deep gold, and then I have this like more champagne gold, which I adore, but I'm feeling this deep gold right now. I think perhaps I'm just gonna do it on the left side so then I can make my marks on the right side without smearing anything. And I am going to call this page done. Sure, I could play with it more if I wanted to, but I think I'm happy with it. I always like to write the date. All right, let's see. What else kind of fun do we want to have with this side? Let's go with this dark green that I had from the other page. I'm going to zoom you in. So you can appreciate a little more what I'm doing. I really filled this page up, didn't I? Want to do something. I feel like I can't just do that there. I need to do it somewhere else too. Oh, I need to sharpen. This sharpener is the best thing. I've had this for 3 years maybe. Doll 133. Amazing sharpener. I think I like this. I think I like these little little circles. At this point, I guess you could say I'm thinking about composition, but it's just a sketchbook page. I'm just trying to have fun, so I'm not like being crazy about it. I'm just considering it as I go. Okay. All right, so let me grab a lighter green. That's nice. Is this my chromium? No, it's almost like a chromium oxide green. I swear I have that somewhere. Oh, here, chromium oxide, because this color over here is really chromium oxide-esque. I can't wait to take this tape off and see what it looks like. I'm just doing things as I think of them, you could say. I don't have some grandiose plan about this. Oh, I don't want to smear that splatter. I have to watch what I'm doing. Okay. Oh, that's really pretty. Can you see the metallics that I did before? Oh my gosh, this is making me like so ridiculously happy. I think that is so gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Wow. I love that. Let's spice up these circles a little bit. Give them some lines. Let's put some lines like out here. Again, super loose, barely pressing down. Like I'm just kind of like, just barely pressing down. I want to try something that might work. We'll see. I want to kind of like do a little outlining. To get some value, different values, like adding some dimension in. Okay, I think I like that. Yeah. All this needs is some splatter, in my opinion. And that's that. Oh my gosh, I have so much paint on this brush. Oh wow, look what I did. Okay. Okay, that splatter is wet obviously, but I can take the tape off so that you can see the final painting, because I'm thinking this video is done aside from this little reveal. Oh yeah, this tape is perfect. Oh yes, look at that. The paint didn't like stain through it. I will look and tell you the brand as I'm doing this. Oh, okay, it's good. Great. It's some of these art tapes are like too strong when you put them on, so you have to like heat the tape as you take it off, but this is coming right off, but it was sticky enough that it like stayed on really well. It's called TSSART, all caps. TSSART white art tape. Oh yeah, it's 1/4 inch. I think that's what I said before. So this tape is like my new tape. I have another white art tape. It's a thicker one. I believe it's a 1/2 inch, and I don't love that size, but the tape is so strong. It rips the paper like every time. And I know there's things you can do, like put the tape on your pants or whatever, your shirt, before you stick it on, but then it's got lint on it, and it's just, I'm not a fan of doing that. I want a tape that is sticky but not too sticky, and that I don't have to go to great lengths to like make it work. Okay, I'm really liking my little light pencil lines in the background there. I think it's giving it more of a dimension. Like when I look at the other side, it's like almost a little too plain. So what I'm gonna do is do some of those lines over here. I'm not gonna do it everywhere, because then it would be like, I don't know. I want it to be a little off balance. Yeah, okay. I think I like that. I really like how this one turned out. I'm very happy with that. All right, I hope you enjoyed me working on this today, and my crazy bees and my crazy chickens. I can't believe that took an hour to do all that, but it did, so there you go. Thanks, and come back again soon. Bye.